California's in deep trouble once again. As before 2020, there's already a steady decline in population, but California just can't keep their crap together, including New York. So we're going to look at these two basic variables. One, make California and New York one of the best states to move to back then versus now the new basically tech hubs, which is Texas and Florida. So we're not going to include every single state that are out there. There are certain states that have really great opportunities, which I will mention, which is the state of Washington, which actually has no income tax, and it has actually a lot of other benefits and a lot of other corporations, such as like Amazon and parts of Microsoft are over there too. And also, we cannot, include Utah. Utah right now is becoming literally another basically tech hub and automotive manufacturing, but we're not going to include those because those are not mentioned in mainstream media. The ones that are looking for the biggest exodus, which is California, which is during 2020, 2021, and New York. New York, those two used to be the big players in the main stage, and now they're just taking a dump. They're just going downhill, and they just can't keep their crap together. They keep losing people for the past couple of years, and 2020 made it even worse. So, then you must be asking, Michael, which type of people are leaving? The type of people are leaving, they're showing graph that there's a bunch of type of groups that are leaving. You have the high income earners and the business owners that are also leaving. And you also have the people in the middle family income, the middle class. Those are very important because there's a lot of people are middle class and they're causing them to exit out of here. And of course, the biggest change is the lower class. People are making minimum wage, making under 6 figures a year with a combined family total. Those are ones are basically getting out of California. They can't afford it. So we're going to look at what is this cause and why is it happening and what can they do to change. But most of the time, even making this video, they probably won't change it. That's why you should hit the subscribe button down below and a bell notification icon. But let's get to it. We're going to break down the stats and look at how this affect mainly single income family earners, basically non-business owners. So we're not going to dive into the super deep stuff like why certain states have better business practices than other states. But we're going to develop and delve into those shortly because those are very complicated, but in those you cannot really have numbers. But from personal experience, I can tell you there are certain things that are not shown in paper or in person and are very hard to find. Usually those require lawyers and CPAs. But the basic information, those are ones that cause most people to move. Most people, like you and I, are working as employees. Most of them will move because of these circumstances. So first, everyone likes to talk about it. Even the governor in Texas and the governor in California compete against each other and even attack New York and with Florida. So these are the four main states. They're always on the news cover. Then how they fight back is to both sides. They look at income tax. Income tax is tax you pay after the amount of money you make, so which is your gross income. Your gross income is not including tax. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. And that is considered your gross income. Your net income is anything that gets taxed afterwards. You have federal and you got state. Anything that got removed from that, going down the list, then after it'll become your net income. That is your true income. So we're looking at income tax. First, California. We're going to go with the states that are considered the more left side. Income tax for California. There are multiple brackets. We're going to pick the bracket which majority of people are in. So the people are in the middle class family because it's targeting mainly middle class because middle class may make a bulk of the money, including the lower class too. But lower class, those is a different income bracket. But California, if you make between $60,000 to $312,000, that's a good chunk of people. That's literally, I'll say at least 95% of the people pay an income tax in California yearly, 9.3%. So think about it, 9.3% of your income gone. That doesn't include federal, doesn't include all the bills you have to pay, doesn't include sales tax either. And you look at people who are making minimum wage or close to minimum wage, a little bit more than normal. Those are people making between $48,000 to $60,000, pay about 8%. That's only 1.3% lower. That's not a lot. You save some money, but you still got to pay most of it back to the government. And now we look at New York. So California has a ridiculous income tax bracket. Now we look at New York. New York at 5.97%, nearly 6% for anyone who makes between $21,000 to $80,000. That's basically that whole entire bracket. Majority of people in New York, if you work basically in restaurant jobs, you work in minor fields, you're gonna be paying basically 6%. And the next bracket goes between $80,000 to $215,000. They pay 6.33%. Okay, yeah, New York is better in income tax versus California. Now we're gonna look at the two states that are considered the more right side states in the political spectrum. Texas, of course, if you heard about Texas, there's no income tax. Florida, same situation, no income tax. So you save a big chunk of money already. So going those four, properties in 4 states, income tax, basically left side charge an arm and a leg. That's really a disservice to the people who already work there. And there's a lot of other factors too that I will try to mention all in this one video, but it's probably gonna be too long because it's a really deep topic, rabbit hole, and we gotta jump through at the end. But we're gonna go through the main ones first. Number 2, this one's very important because think about it. If you go out to buy food, go out to go grocery shopping, so you go out to buy whatever you want, you have to pay something called sales tax. Yes, for example, Oregon does not have sales tax, but they will get you in other places. Remember that. If one state has a better incentive than another state, they usually will get you somewhere. They just don't tell you. You just have to figure out yourself. So number 2, sales tax. Let's look at California. Sales tax can actually differ from city to city. So in California, every city can have a different type of sales tax. It's not universal. Same with Texas, same with Florida. Like Texas and Houston can have a different type of sales tax compared to Dallas. That is what it is. So different states and different parts of the cities inside the states have different sales tax. The reason why, I don't know why they can't make it universal. It's like they can't keep their stuff together. Not sponsored, by the way. So California sales tax, 8.82% on average. So combine the averages of all the cities in California, they charge between go up to 10, down to 7, but on average combined here, 8.82% sales tax. So you buy fruits, you buy vegetables, you buy electronics, you're watching my YouTube channel, you should click the like button, subscribe button down below, and the bell notification icon. They charge you 8.82% on average for your internet service provider too bill. Congrats, you lose even more money there. And we go down to New York. New York, instead, you know what they do? Same thing. New York, and the average sales tax is 8.8%. That's a lot. Okay, that is a lot. And you know what's worse? I was doing some, deep diving there. I realized that in New York, you have to pay a parking fee. 10%. 10% is included into the sales tax. You pay for a parking fee. So the park in the slot, you got to pay for parking slot ticket. Then you got to pay sales tax on that. It's 10%. Like, bruh, dude, you're robbing the people. And of course, Texas, Florida, no better. Texas, 8.2% on average. Yeah, you got no income tax, but sales tax they still get you right there. Florida, 7.01%. Every beer you buy, every alcoholic drink you buy, every type of item you buy, the sales tax will make some of the money back. So sales tax are all pretty even between the 4 states. They're all pretty crap, in my opinion. Except for Oregon. Oregon, you're the lucky one there. But of course, they'll get you in other places. Going down the list, number 3. This one's really important because for 2020, property tax and trying to get a home is really important. Property tax is the killer here. Surprisingly, California itself has very low property tax. Their property tax is at 0.76%. It's actually pretty low. But here, 0.76%. Did you ask yourself? It is such low property tax, 0.76% of what number? What number? If it's 0.76% of, let's say a $300,000 home, that's a pretty good deal. But what happens? You take that $300,000, you multiply that by 3 or 4. That ain't so small after all. So property tax on California average home is $813,000. So in property tax, you're paying on average about $6,178. That is a lot for property tax because the house itself is very expensive. Next, you go down to New York. New York itself, the property tax in New York is insane. I can see why some people complain about New York's living situation is super expensive. New York, you pay a staggering rate of 1.72%. Even when I did my research and double check on this number, because I thought I was hallucinating. I was like, dude, I must be on something high, but it's ridiculous. It's nearly 2%. That's like almost Texas rate. But the problem is Texas houses are a lot cheaper compared to New York. And New York, the average home there is $767,000. That's average. That basic average home. So it includes all the crappy ones and the good ones too. But mainly, the good ones is the one that majority of people are looking for. And you pay about, on average for property tax, people pay $13,192 on average. Think about that. 13 grand. Then you got to add sales tax into your bill. Then you got to add income tax into your bill. So a lot of people moving out of New York, yeah. A lot of people moving out of California, yeah. It's literally eating them alive. Then now we go down to the more right states, Texas and Florida. So what does Texas have? People complain property tax in Texas is way too expensive. And they are right, because Texas has one of the highest property taxes at 1.8%. But keep in mind, 1.8% of what? So average home price in Texas is about $315,000. Of course, you get a bigger lot because not that many people there. For now, that's, the prices on Texas right now, they're pretty low for now. Just wait till a lot of people move in, and once the population grows, the homes will need to be built, need to catch up with supply and demand. And number two will be transportation. Texas, you think Texas will have a lot of, open roads and stuff? Just wait until population grows. Based on planning infrastructure, like I made in my previous videos, which you should guys click the subscribe button down below. Thanks to that, the infrastructure in America in general is just garbage. Public transportation not existent. And, there's a bunch of reasons why. I listed in previous videos. You can go check those out in my channel. Because those are the reasons why even like Texas have a growing population, they're going to end up like California at the end. Transportation issues, traffic issues, it's going to be a whole nightmare. And thanks to government policies, government regulations, the zoning regulations, and transportation regulations. So, before that, I'm going to go on to around property tax at 1.8%, $315,000 average home. Of course, you have bigger lot and land, this and that. So, an average Texan pays about $5,670 in property tax for their home. Okay, still cheaper in California and New York, but not too much until their home prices go up. Once their home prices go up, then that property tax is really going to eat them. That's what it is. Going down to Florida. Florida, you pay about nearly 1% at 0.98%. Average home price in Florida, $415,000, and their average property tax is $4,025. Not too bad. So because right there, like Texas, you have pretty low housing costs, but the property tax is so sky high. So once that home value shoots up in value, it's gonna be unaffordable. Literally, it'll make up for it. Like Texas, no income tax, where they bite you property tax. So you see all those government officials on news media say like, oh, we have no income tax. Oh, California has the perfect weather. They will get you somewhere, no matter what. You have one benefit here, but they always get you somewhere else. So which one's the better benefit? It really depends on your situation. Where you want to trade for all that time and money for a better location, or you trade for a place a hair cheaper, and the weather too. So Florida, not too much better. It's only a little bit better, but it's not as bad as New York. You have to admit, California is around $6,000, Texas around $5,000, but then New York at $13,000. Then you have, Florida at $4,000. So those three states are pretty close to each other, except for New York. New York is just blah. Forget it. Last one. And last one is corporate tax. Basically, if you own a business or a corporation, which is the whole point, fits in a category of people who try to build businesses. The more businesses you have, the more jobs you have. The more jobs you have more people finding work. The more people finding work, then prices will decrease because you have more people competing each other. More competition always equal better and cheaper products. Always. Always, always, always is the fundamental of economics. And of course, a free market. That's how it works. Like, for example, gasoline. Why gas is so expensive, as I made a previous video. Because there's a monopoly in the refinery sector. When you have a monopoly, they can charge whatever they want because it's a business. They can. So, corporate tax. This one is interesting. Corporate tax. This is for people who are making middle-class income families going to upper class. People who graduate from college, people who have a certain degree fits into that field, or people starting a business. So, corporate tax in California, 8.84%. That's pretty high. Because you think about it, 8.84% of like a multi-million-dollar company, that's gonna eat into a lot of money, a lot of profit. Think about all that money. Like, yeah, the state can make money from it, but like the company can use money to invest in other products and other services. Going down to New York. New York, Like, I thought I wrote this number wrong. I even went to triple check because it was insane. I was thinking, how does New York even get away with this? New York charges a corporate tax rate of 18.28%. That's literally nearly one fourth of the company's money, which they could have used to pay benefits to employees. Maybe they should change the rule and regulation to pay their employees better instead of taking it for themselves, and who God knows where it goes to because the government doesn't get audited. 18%. I can see why a lot of businesses in New York don't survive, or basically they leave to another state. Like, California is really high, but New York is like literally another level of just straight up give you instead of like California gives you one middle finger, and New York comes by, it's like, hey, I can do one better. They give you two middle fingers. Maybe they even give the middle toe, both of their feet, two middle toe fingers to you. It's just ridiculous. 18%. Come think about it. You make $100 and you lose like nearly 1/4 of that. Oh man, that's just brutal. Going down to Texas. Texas, this one's more reasonable. 2.64% corporate tax rate. Okay, that's not bad. Then you go down to Florida, 5.5%. All right, they're both, reasonable. California getting towards the and New York is just like I mentioned, just a straight double middle finger. At this point, 4 middle fingers for you. So here's the extra bonus content. If you make it down to this far, this is another reason why people from like New York and California are moving out. And compared to like Texas and Florida, why they weren't like big sanctuary cities before for tech and innovation. So first, one thing you guys have to realize, a lot of tech businesses and big businesses, talking about big ones like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Intel, Tesla, anything big manufacturing, anything huge corporation, conglomerate. You realize one thing, there's one thing you notice from every single business. They like water. Have you realized that? Every big business is like water. Apple from Silicon Valley, close to water. Amazon, basically their main financial district, their main hub, their main headquarters at Washington, state of Washington, near water. Tesla itself, near water. All these places are near water. Then why, for example, why didn't you choose to move to Utah or didn't you choose to move to like some states in the middle of the country? Why is that? Because of water. They like to be near water. And here's another issue. California has really popular and New York's really popular is number one thing that Texas and Florida don't have. Because it built that reputation of basically being more conservative, meaning you lack people. If you do not have the people, then your businesses won't start up as easily. It's really hard to drag someone from like California, who has the brains to study in the colleges, the tech, the industry, drag them all the way down to Texas and Florida. You need a big enough incentive. That's one of the things that those two states are lacking is manpower and knowledge. The brains and knowledge from people graduating from classes, graduating from universities, trying new tech and innovation. That's one thing that makes a lot of companies hesitate to move to different places because you have to bring the talent. Those big businesses need talent. They want money too, but they need talent first. Talent is what drives them innovation forward. Number three. Another third thing, what makes them right now is moving. Once you pass a certain threshold, you got other factors to move in to get people to move out. The third thing is the environment. For example, it doesn't matter if you live in Texas and you have nothing to do, and in California you have everything to do, but that all changes once you start, for example, rolling blackouts. Your electricity costs going higher, your water bill's going up, you have a water shortage. That's literally gonna get people to start, think about it, second guessing. It's like, oh wait, why are electricity getting cut? Oh, why electric bill keeps going up? Oh, why are water bills going up? And once that happens, they start hesitating, start thinking, even to make all that money, it'll eventually catch up to them. Going down to number 5, traffic. And as I mentioned earlier, traffic, it's gonna hit Texas, it's gonna hit Florida too. And as I mentioned earlier, the reason why is because you can hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification icon. But out of seriousness, because of zoning and development is so garbage in America compared to like Asian countries like Japan or like the Baltic states, Norway. It's just so crappy to the point is like Texas and Florida. Yeah, we're building bigger 26-lane highways. But your exit to get out there for is still 1 lane. When all those people need to get out, you're still going to end up with the same situation. So Texas itself, yeah, big state, but you're still going to end up like California. Traffic is going to be a nightmare. Because once you get more population, it's going to come back to bite you unless you change your zoning as fast as possible. Once you start that construction, and make public transportation safe enough and cheap enough to compete against cars, then you have a viable product. You can develop a more densely populated city that makes you a lot of money. And another reason a lot of people move in California, of course, in this video, housing costs will get you, traffic will get you, and the cost of living in general. Just food in general costs a lot. For example, gasoline. Gasoline right now in California, it's basically at $7 from the making of this video. $7 for gas. Compared to other states, they are raising too, but they're not raising as fast as California because other states have their own priorities. They have their own refineries. If you're gonna go green energy, you can't just go you can't just go balls in at one go. You have to take step by steps. And for some reason, California, New York, they just want to go all the way instant, right away. It's not how it works. You have to take it step by step. And if you don't take it step by step and you add pushing rules and regulations to the point that's hurting the consumer, it's going to come back to bite you. And that's what is going on. Just California, New York are just losing population. And since thanks to the pandemic, it pushes this trend even faster. Because it's already happening before. And now with the pandemic, it pushes almost instantly. So now with remote work, you got people, big corporations like Tesla have their battery in Nevada. Tesla moving to Texas. You got big conglomerates. Look at Oracle. You got like the podcaster Joe Rogan moving down there because at the end it financially makes sense to move down there. And how do you move the talent down there is offering them a better deal. Basically, to buy a house there, it's a lot cheaper over there for now, but they have to pay the property tax for it. And the weather is definitely not as great because California has another thing going for them is the weather. Your weather can only help you so much until you push that threshold where all other factors start to affect you. Yeah, you can live in a state with one of the best weathers out of the 50 states, but if you can't afford to live there, then why just move somewhere else? There's something called air conditioning, and you just basically actually live in a place where you actually have 4 seasons and you adapt to it. People are willing to adapt to it if you're financially in trouble. So at the end of the schemes and things, California really needs to change their act. And also, as a bonus content, California, against businesses, have a really strict rule against them. For example, I bet you guys didn't know businesses in California can actually get raided by the state government for no reason. They can walk into your business. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen videos like this, but they're pretty niche. They can walk into your business and ask you questions, and you cannot do anything about it. It has happened before. It doesn't happen too often. If it does happen, usually people don't really record it or it gets swept under the rug. You must be thinking they must have done something wrong. That's actually not true. I actually not see in person, but I've heard it from one of my friends that's actually legal. And I have double checked with a few other sources. Yeah, they have the right to do that. Check on businesses. Just go and ask them questions like how much you make. They're like, are you doing well here? Are they treating you fairly? You're asking them questions. Inside their business, they can go in there. Does it happen in Texas? Yeah, there's actually one, I believe it was a video that came out. It happened to one of Texas car washes. People come in and just basically harass the business owner. It does happen. But the question is how often it happens. In California, apparently pretty often. And New York, one of the YouTubers over there just couldn't take it anymore. He basically ran a business there, and New York is making them run into the ground. Don't let them open, make them always rules and regulations. It's killing them. And same with California, your zoning regulations is killing you guys. Like basically, you look at countries like Japan. It has a lot of earthquakes. It's similar to California. It has more severe weather. But why can they compact a lot more people in the city, have better transportation, have shops on the first floor and housing on top? Why can't we have it here? We have less earthquakes than Japan. They have constant earthquakes. We have less earthquakes, and we have literally the technology to do it. People want to do it, but they're just not allowed to do it. It is what it is. But like California, New York versus Texas and Florida, this is literally, I listed so many reasons why that people are moving out because now is the time and opportunity for them to do so. And the world continue to do it until those two step up their game. As for New York, if you want my honest opinion, California still has a chance to pull this back. Maybe pull their head out of the mud and, rework the whole structure and get the people already left, they're not coming back. Like Tesla, they're not coming back. They spent so much money in Texas and they're doing pretty well. They're not coming back here. Right now, let's try to save what you already have, California. And I really hope that whoever watches this video share this to other people and help them understand that California still has a chance to come back from this. As for New York, I'm sorry to say, you guys are done for. Like, just seeing those tax brackets and rates is just so painful. And living in New York, everything is super expensive. Yeah, income tax is lower, but your food costs and everything is a nightmare. Your corporate and businesses is a nightmare. Yeah, you got tourist attraction, but so does the other states too. They can build it. As for Texas and Florida, you guys gotta suffer the same fate as California if you guys don't get your zoning acts together, because those will come back to bite you. And with property tax, your housing cost is low for now, Texas. Just you wait. Once enough people move over there from like California and other states and from out of the country move in, and more people move into Texas, because population's gonna grow. And once that catches up to you guys, like that 26 lane highway is gonna be one of your worst nightmares. Just saying. And well, Florida too. Florida, you guys had to step up your game too. So if you guys want to keep it up, Texas and Florida, you guys got to make those changes. California, you have to make those changes. New York, forget it, you have no hope. That's it for this video, guys. And, you know, I feel really sorry for the state of New York, but after looking up those numbers and seeing what they do, I thought California is bad, but over there is even worse.